And welcome back, everyone, to Overtime. As we mentioned, we have a special guest on board with us today, none other than the Hall of Famer, if you will, Coach Henry Johnson. He will be inducted into the Mississippi Association of Coaches Hall of Fame coming up in June, and he has been doing it quite well as a head coach, as an assistant coach now for the past 30 years. And Coach, we were talking during the commercial break about your influences. So many people that poured into you to help you become the coach that you are. Talk a little about your mentors and how much they meant to you.
I mean, Leland Young, I played for one of the best coaches in ever, in the nation, in the world. He was great influence. Then you got Coach Willie Thomas from Rosedale. Then you got Coach Todd Knight gave me a job at Delta State. Coach Aaron Holden gave me my first job at Palmer High School. Then Jordan Goins gave me my first coaching job at Rosedale to be a head coach at 26. Henry Phillips, superintendent. Then Dennis Dupree at Clarksdale. It's just, Tony Vance. It's just so many guys that I can't really name them all, but that influenced me. Even my brother, Malcolm, all those guys, the support, Nikita Johnson, all those guys, it's just I learned a lot from those guys. And they were a big influence on my career.
Just about to say, how about your upbringing? How much did that play a role in helping develop the person that we see today?
Oh yeah, my upbringing was, my grandfather was a retired educator, Morgan Brown Sr. Actually, the gymnasium at Rosedale is named after him. But that was always in my, my family, the values, the strong family values, the discipline, the hard work. I grew up around that, so it was kind of easy, transition over to coaching.
And we touched on this in our next segment, as I was teasing earlier, about how the game has changed from when you started 30 years ago to where it is now. In your eyes, what's been some of the biggest adjustments maybe you've had to make as a coach over that time?
Well, kids, I always like to say we have changed more than kids, because kids, they live up to expectation. Whatever your expectation is, they normally, if they love it and they want to do it, normally they'll live up to your expectation. But they deal with more challenges now, and therefore we have to kind of adjust to that. And we can't, the discipline still has to be there, but it's a certain way you gotta discipline kids now. Because you don't want to run kids away. Kids are more sensitive now than we used to be when I played. We coaches can talk to us any kind of way, but now you got to be a little more, careful with dealing with kids now. So, and you definitely got to motivate them. They don't have the motivation on their own like we had, but so you got to be that coach that can be a motivator. To get the best out of your kids. So I've had to adapt over time with that part for kids.
Tough love, does that still exist?
Tough love, tough love. It's just the way you have to give it, but it's still there. And kids want that. And I don't think that has changed at all.
And I know too, Coach, when you look back at your career, the journey that you've been on, how would you best describe this journey? Maybe, I know there have been a lot of highs, but I'm sure maybe you've had to go through some peaks and valleys as far as this roller coaster ride. But perhaps how would you best describe 30 years of coaching for Coach Johnson?
It went by fast, I can tell you that. But, I put in like tireless hours. A lot of people want to know why was I successful? Because I didn't know how to stop. I set high goals, and nobody would tell me that I wasn't going to accomplish my goals. I didn't let anything get in my way. I worked hard. I set good, attainable goals, and I just, did what it took, to accomplish those goals. And it went by fast, and we had a lot of success. And I had a lot of great football players. I can tell you that. I was blessed to coach a lot of talent, in every school I've been in. And that's really been a blessing for me in my career.
We go back to your days at Rosedale, successful there, and then you make the transition to Clarksdale, successful there, and then you decide to retire. What went into that decision to retire? And then you only retired for a short stint, but kind of take me through that phase of your life when you were going through, because I know you had mentioned that Steve, stepping down. And the next thing I know, Steve, I'm back.
Yeah,
But kind of
in a different role.
Yeah, different role. But kind of take me through that period of your life.
You know, after 20, I was head coach at 26. 26 years old. Dr. Goins, hired me in Rosedale. So 22 years of a daily grind that that I put in, neglecting family and everything, but it burnt me out. It burnt me out because like I said, it wasn't a stopping point for me. I didn't know how to balance the football. It was football was everything, and I just got burnt out and I got tired. It was time for me to sit down, and I sat down for a month.
I know. I was just saying.
And then here come Holland. Here come Demetri Warren and Derek Hooker calling. And that's been great because my role changed. So I'm not a head coach, so I didn't have nearly the responsibilities as a head coach. So it was a lot of fun there in Hollandale. But that's kind of been my ride,
All right. Well, I'll tell you what, Coach Johnson, we're going to take our final break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little about how much gas is still left in that coaching tank, because you're still young.
Oh, yeah.
Still young,
definitely.
and seem like, I don't know, you can do this for another 30 more years the way
Oh,
you're
yeah.
going about it. But,
Definitely.
but I don't know if you're looking at the end of the road, so to speak, in terms of when you may decide to let it go. But we're going to touch on that when we come right back with much more overtime with Coach Henry Johnson, the Hall of Famer.